a few months ago, I asked a question in my class, and I noticed that a girl named Isha raised her hand but slowly lowered it. I invited her after the class. I asked her, "What happened to you? Why didn't you speak?" She told me, "Ma'am, I wasn't sure if I am right. I wasn't really sure of the answer." That moment stayed with me. And I immediately went back to my own student days, which were filled of those moments of apprehension and hesitation where I could not speak, where I had many ideas, but I found it so difficult to express them. And the worst part is that this just doesn't remain confined to student life alone. It goes beyond classrooms. The impact is so far reaching that it impacts our working life, our personal life, all the decision making situations. Even today, after having degrees from the reputed institutions, PhD from a central university, I still experience those moments of hesitation, those moments of anxiety, uncertainty. And many a times it happens once I come out of a meeting, I realize that perhaps I should have said this. I should have expressed this idea. But I could not make it in the meeting itself. And trust me, this this impacts the career trajectory of women, and they lose opportunities which we may not even realize it. So the question that arises is, if education gives us the qualifications, if education equips us with the confidence or the competence, why we are not able to make a step forward? And the answer lies in the education, understanding the education itself. I reflected upon it and I realized that education does an excellent job of equipping us with the degrees, with knowledge, with competence perhaps. And we have educational institutions, universities, which have very sophisticated systems of measuring this competence level. This competence level can be measured through various metrics, grading systems, examination, certifications, and so on and so forth. And at a very young age, we understand how to succeed in those systems, and we do pretty well. But I don't think confidence develops like that. And when I'm referring to confidence, I'm not just talking about confidence that is there at the outer surface. I'm referring to a deeper concept of self confidence. Self confidence comes from within. People may be same in terms of level of competence, but it is their belief in their competence that determines the degree of self confidence. Particularly for women, their confidence level is not just shaped by the personal experiences that they have. I have realized many a times it is also influenced by very subtle forms of social conditioning. The messages that we have been hearing in the past: you should do this, you should not do this, you should be prepared before you make or take a step forward. So many messages that we have internalized and conditioned ourselves. Second force that I feel which influences this level of confidence is also a kind of a very quiet need of this external validation all the time, a kind of reassurance from various people that yes, my ideas will be heard, my contributions will be valued, people will, applaud me. And therefore, this confidence doesn't get developed through I don't think it develops through these external approvals all the time. But gradually, what happens is we slowly start, measuring our confidence through various recognitions, applauds, appreciations, and align ourselves according to the expectations of the others. There is a huge confidence gap which exists. And it is so subtle and so pervasive that we fail to even recognize it. And this is not just what I say, this is also what research says. And a valuable and a very interesting finding is that men tend to apply for a particular job or utilize an opportunity when they feel they meet around 60% of the qualification. Can you think of what is this percentage for women? Women, they before they apply for an opportunity or a job, they want to make sure they're 100% confident. Now imagine the difference. One person comes across an opportunity and says, "Hey, I'm ready." He's excited. On the other hand, the other person who may be at the same level of competence, same level of capability, but says, "Maybe I need more time. I don't think I'm ready yet." It makes a lot of difference. And at times, it becomes an acceptable norm in the society. So that is what happens. So the second question that arises is, what should be done if that be the scenario? Now remember that girl Isha that I talked to you earlier about, that she came to me and she could not express herself. I thought of doing something different. So I asked Isha that you lead a class discussion this time. And the topic was Gen Z at workplace. So Isha prepared for the topic, and in the class, her performance was phenomenal. She made a wonderful presentation. She referred to the latest articles. She invited class participation. She did all the things which are required to do a good presentation. And she performed exceptionally well. But you know what surprised me? What surprised me was not the presentation. What surprised me was her reaction after the presentation. All of us naturally applauded her, appreciated her, her classmates, myself. But what she said after the presentation is, perhaps this is my lucky day. Today, luck is on my side. So, despite making the best of efforts and putting in her abilities, she attributed her success to the external factors and not to her own competence level. This is a classic case of what psychologists call as imposter syndrome. And many high performing women experience this imposter syndrome quite often. Now, while I connect the dots, there is confidence gap, there is imposter syndrome. So ultimately, what happens is many men and women keep waiting for the right moment to make an impact, the right opportunity to make an impact. They keep waiting for perfect preparedness, perfect competence, perfect confidence, perfect conditions. But let me ask you a question. Is the perfect moment exist? In a world which is changing at an unprecedented pace, we have seen the pandemic outbreak, we have seen how AI has entered our lives and how fast we are changing. I don't think we can afford to wait for perfect preparedness. What the current environment demands from us is the adaptability, resilience, and the confidence, the courage to step forward before figuring it out exactly what it is. That makes all the difference. So, therefore, what is the role of education? If education is equipping us with qualification, if it is the purpose of education is to prepare us for life, to prepare us for leadership, what it can do to enhance our ability to deal with such challenging, difficult situations? That is a pertinent question. And therefore, after again thinking about it, I realized that education must build belief beyond knowledge. Because many of us are not struggling with intellectual capabilities, but we are struggling with self belief. I find many students having all the right credentials with them, but when it comes to availing a job opportunity, appearing for a challenging situation, a competition, they're not sure whether they'll be able to perform well or not. So, therefore, the very purpose of education gets defeated. For a moment, can you think about the most influential teacher you've had? Chances are that this teacher may not be someone who was extremely good at explaining the concepts. This teacher may be someone who saw something in you that you were not able to see, who believed in your potential, who believed in your voice. And that is the quiet power of education. That is something which makes a difference. So, I would like to express three very simple ideas, perhaps, that could help in understanding the role of education and enhancing the ability and self belief. My first idea is that stop waiting for the perfect readiness. Most of the opportunities in life appear even before we feel we are prepared for them. Confidence is not an outcome of action, it is a byproduct of action. So there is no time for waiting. If you are a young professional, a student, try, volunteer, because silence has hidden more potential than failure ever will. And third is that education, as educators, if you are an educator, a mentor, a leader, build belief. Sometimes people do not need knowledge, they do not need information. What they need is somebody to tell them that I believe in you. What they need is perhaps the encouragement. Because if people hold them back, if people do not come forward, the world loses something significant. Ideas remain unspoken, potential remains invisible, and leadership remains undiscovered. So please be a change agent and help people creating that belief in themselves. Because when competence and confidence come together, education stops being information and starts becoming transformation. Thank you.